AI is going to revolutionize and upend digital marketing for contractors in the next 12 months. I'm going to show you what's going to happen, why it's going to happen, and what you need to do to be prepared. I'm Dennis Yu, host of the Coach Yu Show, and every week I walk through marketing principles as the marketing mechanic so you can understand what's coming ahead and so you can get ahead of this game. So let's dive in. This is the current state. There's you as the contractor, and you give money to an agency, let's just say, or a freelancer, and this agency does a number of things which sit inside a secret black box. We've talked about this before in other episodes, but as you might imagine, the agency has a salesperson who's usually the founder. That salesperson then passes off work to potentially other folks, we'll just call them analysts, and then they often pass it off to other VAs, and those VAs or other subcontracting firms, which are often called white label, pass it off to another layer. It's like a drug cartel where there's many layers between you and the eventual worker, usually someone in Pakistan or the Philippines. And from the output, you're hoping that there are some calls, and those calls then turn into appointments, and then the appointments inside your system, so it could be your Service Titan or whatever, you're able to show that there is revenue. It shows up in your QuickBooks and whatnot. So here's what's going to happen with AI so that the eventual state collapses down, and then you'll see what you really need to understand. All right, so first off, we know that digital marketing is being collapsed here. There's huge friction here because Google and Facebook want to eliminate all this friction. We know that most white label agencies charge $300. In other words, these guys charge $300 per month for another agency, pretending to be that agency, and then that gets marked up. Usually you have one guy who's the owner, and they may have 3 or 4 people. Each of those people might manage 30 clients, and then this goes white label down to here. So this cost gets marked up. You might pay $5,000 and the underlying work is actually $300 because of the level of overhead and this stuff in between. So between the pressure of what Google and Facebook and ChatGPT are doing through AI Max and other tools that they have where they actually make it easier to run ads, they make it easier to rank in Google Business Profile, they're eliminating spam. A lot of the things that were done by these folks are just going away. And that's why you see a lot of folks in this space, if you hang out in these agency groups, why they're freaking out about all the latest changes, saying, oh, Google's eliminating all of our techniques, we got to try some new technique, which eventually keeps going away. So it's causing a collapse going this way. So Google and Facebook want to eliminate these middlemen. Why? Not because they hate SEO people or they hate digital marketers, they hate agencies. It's that there's too many parasites that are here in the middle. And Google and Facebook want to make as much money as possible. So for every actual dollar that gets to them, they want to, in other words, if a contractor spends $1 here and there's 90 to 95% goes to overhead to all these other people in the middle. It's like nonprofits in Africa. You just put $1 in and there's 5 cents to the actual starving children in Africa, right? That's what's happening. So Google and Facebook are saying we're going to eliminate a lot of this mess. So this is actually where the AI pressure is occurring. It's not through us or agencies or other folks using AI tools. The compression is occurring this way so that of every dollar being spent here, eventually it's going to be, maybe it's 10 cents. 10 cents is by someone else, we'll call them an agency or intermediary, and then 90 cents goes into spend. And that's the thing that you see occurring here. But now how is that actually occurring? Because we see folks like Brad Strawbridge, and they say, Brad said, you know what, I fired my agency and I took it over myself. I use Claude and ChatGPT and Grok and Gemini, whatever your favorite model is, to do the work of this digital agency. And then that builds the website, that runs the ads component, because really that's all that's left. All this other stuff that's not being done by ads it's basically AI being driven by the ads by Google and Facebook, which are ad driven. And then there's the work that's being done. And if the work that we see, and I've talked to my agency friends, and they said they're typically getting 10x on their labor. So every person on their team, this is including our team, each person who's an A player, one A player is now worth 10 times more. So now someone who's a B player or below, they unfortunately, they don't really have a job. And that's all, most of the VAs, Fiverr, Upwork, these guys that are doing mechanical things, that's why you see them struggling. That's why there's all the big layoffs. So these people who are A players are actually getting more done. They're getting better employment. They're living what we call above the API line. Why? Because they're using ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and Grok to be able to do things in multiple layers. So these things that were occurring here that were inefficient, it's all the same things that were being done. So this, for example, is the 4 stages of the content factory. What does that mean? Repurposing content, collecting reviews, tuning the website, fixing the Google Business Profile, all the things that happen within digital marketing, all of these things are being done by these different agents. So what's going on right now is you have agents that are each doing these different things, and you have different pieces of software that also underlie this. So each agent is using a particular tool. So here's an agent, here's a tool. Agents are using tools. Most agents are single tool use. And what's happening now is that this is difficult to do. So this is being replaced by an orchestration layer. So this, you may have seen last week, ChatGPT and Claude came out with managed agents. So they said, okay, you've got these agents that are doing different things. Now we're creating a management layer that's on top of it. And now you see Sam Altman last week when he was with Ben Thompson on the Stratechery podcast, my favorite podcast for strategy, tech, and AI. And Sam said, what needs to happen, because he's frustrated, is that we need to be able to say, this is what Sam Altman, founder, him and Elon were co-founders of AI, of OpenAI, said, you as the contractor should be able to specify your goal as clearly as possible. I want to drive more residential roofing jobs in Akron, Ohio at under $100 a call or whatever it might be. And then if you can put in the content, meaning your team's collecting it or pulling it out of your CRM or field service management tool or a company cam or whatnot, and then your team of course can answer the phone and whatnot, then all you need to do is be able to speak that goal and of course put money in the machine. The machine only runs when you put tokens in the machine, literally tokens. So if you have that and you speak the goal, then everything else here gets collapsed down. This whole thing in the next, call it 18 to 24 months, is about to be collapsed. So that all these players that are AI this and AI that, you don't have to listen to all of that. You just need to focus on what are the things that need to come into the machine. As the machine is getting more and more sophisticated, these pieces are collapsing all the way down until there's basically one tool, one big tool that you talk to. One interface, not 50 apps, because the model that this teenage years model that we're in, like where AI has gone from child to adult, or teenager, that's where we are now, to an adult down here, and give it another 18 months. What's happening is that agents can do work, but they are not being governed by a harness, meaning the engine doesn't have a transmission. There's a bunch of engines and car parts, but it's not tied together in a way that makes sense. This kind of tying together, maximum 24 months. Dario Amodei, who's the founder of Claude, he's saying 24 months, other guys are saying 18 months, but I think we all agree 24 months is the outside. At 12 is where most of the impact you're going to start to see. And some of these guys, franchises or enterprise stuff or things that are more complex that require physical labor, but in digital marketing, for sure, 24 months, almost everything here is going to be collapsed down. So what do you need to know? What are you looking for to see happening? Any of these tools that you're using. So there's tools that these guys are using. You can name all your favorite tools. People will say, oh, go high level, or Google AdWords Editor, or WordPress. These are all tools that humans are using. But if tools have been built for humans to use, but now you have agents that are using the tools, now there's no need to log into WordPress anymore, or to log into Infusionsoft or Stripe or wherever you're going to log into, because now the agent is able to do that through MCP orchestration. All these different components are all collapsing down. So what I see is there are some contractors, and I don't want to miss out on AI, so they jump heavily down into these different tools. They play with OpenClaw. They play with the latest model release. Did you see 5.5 has a 1 million token context window, and it does this and that, and you can set up your sole MD file in a particular way, and your skills.md files, you're able to connect them together in this particular way and put them inside a Vault and inside Obsidian, and put it inside Vercel, where you can, you know what, all of that stuff is just noise. It's all noise, because anything that's in between something the AI can't do, which is you as the contractor with what you want to do, and the actual doing of the work. These are the field service. These are your crews out going, spraying and fixing air conditioners, doing all the home services contracting work. Everything in between that's electronic, answering the phone, scheduling, like all of those. That's why even Service Titan is quickly trying to come in. Service Titan is trying to buy all these other guys in here because they know that collapse is happening. All that's going to be in here are the ads models. Maybe a couple of these guys will still be left standing. I don't think they will in 2 or 3 years, because the models are what's called unhobbling, meaning they're coming in and destroying Microsoft Office and these other sorts of tools. So just think about, are you wasting time messing around with configuration, updating, all the frustrating stuff that I've spent hundreds of hours doing myself? Or are you focusing on where you have clear, differentiable signal value? Because when your team does good work, that feeds all the way back into here. Think about that. That's the loop. Where can you have sustainable value? Your team does great work. That work shows up over here. It runs through this content factory process, which are skill files you give to your favorite AI. You like Grok, you like Claude, Chat, whatever your favorite AI is, your work and how it's being done should be independent of any particular model. Because that way, when Claude 4.6 moves to 4.7 and all of a sudden these things that worked before don't work, you don't have to worry about the noise of the tools and the agents and the configuration layer. And now we can go to Amazon because Amazon just launched their new workflow, or you don't like OpenClaw, so you want to move to NemoClaw, which is the Jensen Huang, NVIDIA's founder, launched that. You don't have to worry about that. It's like being an idiot and you're changing lanes in traffic all the time. Instead, understand what are the clear bits of proof that you have as a contractor to stand out from the other roofing and HVAC companies, the other folks in your city that do the same thing. And then anything here in the middle, oh, I'm not an AI person, I'm just a plumber. Okay, but whatever these guys are selling you, how much of it, how much efficiency is there in going from the raw content, ingredients in the kitchen, all the way to the finished product? Ask, are there white label folks involved? That's number one. They'll say no, but they usually are, that's the case. Two is, how much of your ad spend, of every dollar you put in, how much is actually going towards ads? And they'll be able to, they'll put in all these other charges for like SEO or content strategy or account management or what, but no, really, like every dollar that I give you, how much actually goes to ads? And that tells you something about the inefficiency that's here. Three, can I see the output of the work that's being done? If work is being done either by VAs they hired that they're not really sure because they just outsource it to another firm because they're just focusing on sales because they don't know how to do it themselves, or there's another tool that they're using, or they're just using AI themselves, there should be documentation of the work that's being done. If so, then I can trace this path all the way through. I can use AI to audit their work. If you don't understand how to use AI, you can go to your favorite AI and say, hey, I asked these guys, give me an output of all the work that's done, go ahead and grade it. And your AI, your favorite AI, will grade the work and tell you how it fits into this process. You can take the video that I've given you here and literally run it through AI. Hopefully you watch the video so you understand and see. I predict, you can hold me to it, 12 to 24 months from now, most of these players will be out of business or absorbed by a couple of these major players. And the work will be done mainly by the frontier models, which is Google and Grok and Gemini and OpenAI. And that's it. Everyone else is they're not in business. The reason why I'm making these videos, this is not AI, is because I want you to see the path that's coming. Every time changes that are happening in the market, you can be rationally ignorant and say, you know what? I knew that this was going to happen. I knew logically that this is the path that we were going to go down, And I don't have to worry about all these guys saying, hey, I've got the latest thing. I'm trying to scare you as a contractor about AI. You don't have to worry about that because you know where you have an advantage. You know which things are lasting, which things are red herrings. If you like this, I hope that you like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this channel. I do this every Thursday, and we've got maybe 40 videos so far, and we've got almost 2 million views on it. So certainly contractors and people who serve these local service businesses see some value in this. And I'm not here to try to hate on agencies or hate on the AI companies. I just want you to see there's massive noise and inefficiency with AI right now. And those people who actually do the good work, who actually take care of their customers, who care about reputation, AI is going to be a magnifier of what you have. And if you don't have an advantage, if you're just using tools, if you're one of those young money bros who's just trying to collect money out of other plumbers and HVAC guys because you believe you know more than they do, you don't have very long to live on this. You need to figure out a way to drive real value because contractors are watching this. They're going to start asking these questions. You might use AI to try to reply on your behalf, thinking they can't spot that AI, they're using AI to reply. I probably get tons and tons of, I get tons of replies from team members and other agencies where I give them feedback and I can tell they just had ChatGPT reply. I'm like, I wrote this for you so that you understood, not for me to decipher what AI you had send to me. But I'd love to know, what do you think? Do you agree with this timeline? Do you see these changes that are happening? What are you doing about it? How do we collaborate together? I'm Dennis Yu. I'm your host at The Marketing Mechanic, actually, and we'll see you in the next episode.